I'm watching the whirlies go around here. I'm waiting for both of my devices to tell me that I'm live. Camera's rolling. Hello, family and friends. Welcome, both Facebook and Instagram, and later on YouTube. Thank you for getting here. It is 4:30, and you've made it through this part of your day, and you've made it this far in your life. Thank you so much. I am grateful that you're here. Today, let's talk about perspective. Perspective in this the day that we're living in. Oh, I should say before, from my perspective, looking out the window is gray. The sky is slightly overcast. It's a bright gray day, and it's chilly. It's chilly. I'm sitting here a little chilly, and that's my perspective. Somebody else might be sitting over there in their house going, wow, what a fantastic day it is. It's nice and warm out, because it is warmer than it was in the wintertime, but it's not as warm as it was on Sunday. And that is perspective. That is the beginning of perspective, because we're going to get into a bunch of things here, and depending on where you're coming from, you might actually get challenged by my opinion or observation, and that's okay. That's all right. Once again, these are observations. I'm not trying to sell you anything, please, but I am laying out there my perspective on the way I live and what I've learned and things that I've encountered. My brother and I got into a wonderful thing that lasted for a while. And I mean, when I mean a while, I don't mean like a minute. I mean, we went back and forth for probably a year. We probably still get to it every once in a while, because he was a traffic police officer and had to do accident recreations. Part of that process was he had to go around and ask people what they saw, witnesses what they saw, and he would say, "Man, someone's just outright lying." And I would go, "Wait a minute, were they lying, or is that what they saw?" Because, as I pointed out, if you have an intersection, and at that intersection, an accident happens, and you ask, and there are four people that see it, one person on each corner, and you ask them what they saw, they will each give you their perspective, their point of view of what happened. And for some of those perspectives and some of those points of view, information isn't there. It's not visible to them. They can't see it. And with that in mind, it's what he was working to piece together was the omniscient point of view of what happened. Because from any one of those angles, it's only a perspective of what happens. It's not the total thing. Now I'm going to try. Doesn't look like I can do it. I wanted to share my screen because I had an image that went with this. I will post it in the comments later. And it's about point of view. It's a cylinder that's floating in space. And it's in front of a convergence of two walls. From one angle, there is a blue light shining, and from another angle, there's an orange light shining. The shadow that's left on the wall from one angle of that cylinder makes a square. The shadow that's left on the wall from the other angle of the cylinder makes a circle. So a person standing from one angle would look and go, it's a square. Another person looking from this angle or another angle would look and say, oh, it's a circle. And they can argue and argue and argue and argue about that. And the truth is, the shadow that they see is one is a square and one is a circle. The object is neither circle nor square. It's a cylinder. So the truth is, the cylinder casts a shadow that is both a circle and a square. And that's the big picture of it all. Often in our lives, we wind up getting in arguments. We get frustrated about conversations because we're sharing our perspective and not understanding the perspective of someone else. A lot of this, so in this perspective thing, a lot of the stuff that we deal with in life is about perspective shift. And part of what we deal with in life is learning the compassion to possibly project, accept another person's perception. Sometimes, here's the hard work, is accepting someone else's opinion. Doesn't mean you have to validate it. Accepting someone else's opinion when it contradicts your own or when it doesn't quite jive with your own. And accepting it is letting it come in and going, processing it and thinking it, pondering on it. Doesn't mean you have to change your stance and go with that opinion, because hopefully both of your opinions, when melded together, may come up with a whole new opinion. And we're not talking black and white. We're not talking, oh, that's a black and white situation. This is all gray area. And I was once, someone said that, oh, you are so black and white. And I said, oh my goodness, you must not know me. I am a rainbow of gray, because I do want to hear other input. I do want to learn. I do want to grow. And I do want to reshape. And I do want to do a lot of things. There are certain things that, yes, I am solidly black or white on, but I still listen and I still want to hear. And there are certain things morally that I don't see why I need to change or on a stance, because I'm not offending or affecting anyone else. So some of that stuff I won't even share, not because I'm afraid to share, because I don't want to offend. And so from that perspective, here's a lot of folks say, oh, well, you don't have any boundaries anyway. Oh, I do. I do have boundaries. We all have to have them. And some of that is because we've been hurt with whatever we have dealt with. And I say whatever a lot, so I'm working on that. We've dealt with life. And sorry, my thing just gave me a message, and I'm ignoring it for a moment. But life, perspectives on life. How those of you who are here, you have encountered the opposition. You have encountered this. How many times have you wondered, if I just shifted my perspective to that stance, what would it look like? I will say that I practiced this. Oh my goodness, what was it? The Bush Gore elections, leading up to that, and there was that divide, the Republican and Democrat, and so I'm not going to really get into politics here. And I had a stance that I was like, and then I said, how can someone vote for that other guy? And so I asked the question, but I really didn't want to answer, because really, when you say how can they do that, you're saying you're dismissing them, because you're not actually going to the person saying, what are your reasons for voting for this person? And so I did that. When I'd hear somebody say, I'm voting for the other guy, I started asking, wow, tell me why I should vote for that person. What is it? What have they done? And listening to some of those points of view. Now, in that case, a lot of the points of view that I had were misguided, or not what I had, that I heard were misguided. Now, it wasn't my job to correct their point of view. It wasn't my job to change it nor judge it. I heard it. And it made, now the crazy thing is that even though it was misguided, understanding that misguidedness, it validated it. It made it so that I understood why they believe that. Now, but it also opened the door that when they asked, I could share my point of view and my perspective. Not sure whether they were ready to accept it or even fully hear it. Because a lot of folks, when they're hearing things, they're not really hearing, they're trying to translate it into their language. And that's another important thing on perspective and understanding is, hello, Libby, thank you for joining me here. is taking in the information as it is. Don't translate it. Don't interpret it. Take it in. And sometimes that means that when you take it in, when somebody says something to you, you repeat it back, word for word, especially if you are thinking you didn't hear it right. Repeat it back, word for word. And if that person says, so not crazy one, but something that happens quite often is people say, that's what I said, but that's not what I meant. Ah, now we're talking, because then we have a discussion. So what is it that you meant? Please share that with me and return that back, what you've heard, not with your perspective, within their perspective. Return back what you've heard. Say, oh, did you say that you don't like my shoes? And they say, oh, that's not what I meant. What I meant was, I'm not a fan of brown. Oh, okay. Ah, different. So you don't, is it the style of shoe? No, I didn't say that. So if they said, I don't really care for that style of shoe, you've heard it. If you repeat it back and say, so you don't really care for this style of shoe. Oh, no, I like that style of shoe. I just don't like it on you. That's another thing. That's different. Okay. So, and also when you get that clarity, you don't have to make a judgment. That's their opinion. That's not about you. It's about what's going on in them. It's their filter. Just like the circle and the square. I'm seeing, I don't like squares. I like circles. Well, okay. Then shift your perspective. And now you have a square from the cylinder. Okay. That's it. Just perspective today. Just a little perspective. Because as we go through what we're going through right now, some of that perspective changes. Some people are saying, I'm really enjoying this time of being here, having my time, doing my schedule, my thing. Some other people are saying, I can't take it. I'm doing too much. I'm going crazy. Others are saying, I'm bored. Those are all perspectives. And it's all perspectives on the same thing. And we're all going through it in whatever way we're going through it. Understanding that perspective, folks can get heard. Wait a minute. What is that, Libby? If I understand you correctly, you were saying yes. Wow, what a good example on the shoe. All the different possibilities of what comment you heard could actually mean. Yes. And thank you. Thank you, Libby. I'm glad that it actually resonated with someone. And once again, the comments aren't going up. The internet connection is a little off, so some things are slightly delayed here. And normally I don't do this little back and forth, but there it is. Thank you, Libby. Yeah, perspective is everything. And then once you heard the other part of that was when you're hearing stuff, are you interpreting it or are you hearing it? Are you interpreting it, translating it, and then trying to process it, or are you hearing it? And there's a real big difference, because a lot of people like to interpret. I know what you meant. I felt what you were feeling. Well, there are some empaths in the world. Very few of us are empaths. So very few of us actually feel what others are feeling. And if we do, our bodies will process it very differently. Because there's some people who you tickle them and they say, ouch. And some people you touch them and they're ticklish. Everyone is going to respond a little different. That's feeling. That's actually the touch feeling. And the emotional feeling, same thing. Same thing. What is it? As an example of what to say to people to show you were listening to what they said was the first part. Yeah. Sometimes to let someone says, you're not listening, you're not hearing me. Well, do you mean I'm not hearing you or not translating you? When you to repeat back what someone says to you is a very good way. Is a way of letting them know that you heard what was said. Sometimes, now let me get on this perspective thing. There are sometimes when people will say things that'll come out of their mouth, whether it's from emotion or whatever else, it'll come out of their mouth and they're not even clear on what they're saying. So when you say it back, what they hear, they go, that sounds crazy. I would never say that. And yet they did. Now, they're not lying. They'd never heard themselves say it. They just went on the spur of the moment, in the heat of emotion, said whatever they were saying. Really important. Take that breath, repeat it back. And one that helps you to listen. It also helps you to stop in a case of dealing with perspective shift, misinterpretation, all that stuff. It helps you to be, responsive instead of reactive. Responsive instead of reactive. Don't react to, oh man, I got hit. Is respond. Oh wow, you hit me. That was not something I really wanted. As opposed to bam, bam, and then the war begins. Or you're stupid. You're stupid. Or I love you. And there's quiet. What does it mean? It's all a matter of perspective. All a matter of perspective. In that quiet, I will share with you a poem from Sacred and Sacrosanct. I don't have my readers, so I'm going to give it a try. This poem is Soliloquy. I shout at the sky, will I get God's attention? Am I significant? I do not wait for the answer. I am worthy. I have done my fair share and can see no end in sight. I am worthy, I repeat, not necessarily to be heard, but to hear myself. The words fall out effortlessly, yet I propel them to go further. I launch them to go beyond just my ears. I shout at the ground, for maybe my words will rebound skyward, where God will hear. I must speak these words. I know not what I say. The words give me purpose. The words give me meaning. I am worthy. With one more utterance, I may begin to believe. With one more shout, I may accept that when I can hear it, God can hear it. Oh, perspective, hearing, understanding. And I love this interaction here. Responsiveness as opposed to reactiveness. How are we moving through the world purposefully? Are we responding to our needs and the needs around us? Or are we reacting to the situation that is there? And there are some times when you have to react. If there's a car barreling down on you and you're in the crosswalk, you react. You jump out of the way. You can respond to that situation after you've reacted. Now, there are certain other situations when it's not a fight or flight, life or death situation, where it's a conversation. And then you respond. Respond. And that's the difference between fear and danger. Fear is a feeling. Danger is a tangible. I talked about this before. You may fear the outdoors, but you're in danger outdoors with a lion. You may fear the water, but you're in danger if you're in the middle of the ocean and you have to swim hundreds of miles. You're in danger if you're in that ocean and there's sharks all around you. You're in danger if you're in the ocean and you're wearing lead shoes. If you're standing on an island in the middle of the ocean and you fear the water, that's a feeling. The water's not coming to you. The water is there. Responsiveness and reactiveness, perspective. And also with that perspective, we all have different risk tolerances. So sometimes some people will handle that responsiveness or reactiveness very differently because of where their risk tolerance is. What have you been through, and how do you handle risks, and how do you make those choices? And some of those are practiced, and some of those are actually spoken out, and talking with other folks who have had to make those choices, who have had to deal with these situations as well. If you know me, you know I like to talk, and I will talk to people, and I will gain as much perspective as I can from other perspectives, and I will talk to people about other approaches and other ways. And what I'm sharing with you here is resources, ways to go out and look at things and see things differently, and to shift your perspective all the time. It doesn't mean you have to shift your character. It doesn't mean you have to shift your morality, your perspective. What is that vision? What is your outer vision, and what is your inner vision? All righty. I have had you here for long enough. I am very grateful that you joined me here today. Thank you very much. And just know, please, just know that we will get through this. I am so grateful for this time that we have, because I get to share and I get to interact in a very different way. And that opportunity was only made possible, and maybe it was always there, but it was made possible because of what we're dealing with right now. We will continue this. I will continue this way, 4:30 every day. Tell your friends. If this is helpful for you, share it. There might be others who need this. And there's others out there. There's a lot of different meditation practices. There's music folks that are out there. If you need it, go seek it out. It's constantly there. We got 24/7, and not everybody's on the same schedule. Also, if you please just check out my podcast. You can find it on most of your podcast platforms or apps. Billosophy 101. The first season is rolling out now, and I'm recording the second season as we go, because this has also enabled me to do that as well. I've got halfway through the second season, so I hopefully we'll start rolling that out this summer once we get through the first season. You can also direct your friends to check this out on the Dreamer Station YouTube channel under the playlist Billosophy. Alrighty. Stay home. Stay safe. Be well. Stay sane. Go forward with passion and purpose. And remember, you are enough. Thank you.